Greetings, my name is Timothy Collinson. I'm the Faculty Librarian for Technology, and this video is going to build on the previous one about analysing your concepts and show how you can take that search and make an advanced search to get the very best results from our databases. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and hopefully you can see, if we choose the right screen there, which one. Take us to the library homepage, which is library.port.ac.uk, and we're going to click on this big blue button in the top right corner to search library resources. And we're going to use the discovery service just to do a very quick search for the topic that we had in the previous video. Let's not use all capitals. Which was the development of an electric bicycle for urban transportation. Now you can see I've just typed that straight in as the assignment was given to me by the lecturer perhaps, and you can type that into Google, you will get some results. You can type it in Discovery and you'll see in a moment that we'll get some results. But I think we can do much better by actually breaking down those concepts as we did in the previous video and then building them up, as we'll have a go at now, into an advanced search that will hopefully produce much more accurate results than the 24,000 things we found there. Just to say that it popped some results up at the top there that have come from a sports management page and from reference sources we've got like Credo, and then you get the results below. So once you've decided whether or not you want to look at those featured results at the top, just scroll down to get the results. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the advanced search over on the right hand side, and now you can see that I've got different boxes to be able to fill in the different concepts that I've got that I'll have worked out as we did in that previous video. And the first thing I'm going to consider in this top box is the electric bicycle concept. And we'll do a search for that and see what it produces. I'm going to guess there's a fair bit in here, perhaps 100,000. I was going to guess 100,000 things. It's 148,000 things. One of the first things we might do is say, actually, we're not really interested if it just mentions the word electric and then the word bicycle somewhere else. We're actually only interested if it uses that exact phrase. So we can put it in quote marks to make that happen. And if we click on search again now, you'll see what difference that makes. And it's dropped now from 148,000 things to 15,000 things. So we're beginning to hone in on what we really want. If we click on the advanced search button over on the right hand side again, it keeps our search in there. And now I might think about e-bike or e-bike. The hyphen makes a difference in most databases, but not in Google. So it's worth trying those options. I've missed a space there. I've put the ors here in capital letters. It actually doesn't matter. But what's happening there is it's saying search for electric bicycle or e-bike or e-bike. I don't care which of those, any of those will do. So the or is saying any of these will be relevant. And if we do a search there now, you can see that that total that we had before will jump up a little bit as it puts in the other options. So we're now back up to about 40,000 results. Obviously, that's far too many, but then we've only searched for one concept. So in the second box down now, I'm going to put in the idea of cities or urban transport. So I'm going to start with urban transport, which came from our assignment title. Again, that might be an appropriate thing to put in quote marks. So we'll do that search and see how that narrows it down somewhat from 40,000 results. And yes, we're down to 1,191, which is quite a small figure, and you'll see why that's important in a moment. So what I'm also going to put in is or city, or cities, see if that makes a difference. And as I said before, you can truncate words with an asterisk to look for city, CIT. Asterisk would look for city and cities, but it would also look for other things that you're not particularly interested in. So I've actually bothered to spell those out. And again, the or means it doesn't mind which of those we have. So again, we're back now in the advanced search here. And I could put in the word development as another idea, but it's a kind of woolly keyword that might make things a little bit difficult, but you could try development if you were particularly keen to do that. I'm going to try something like environment and I'm going to put in that with an asterisk. So look for environment, environments, environmental, all of that kind of thing. And I might try sustainability as well. I spell it correctly. And so now what's happening is that the top line is looking for any of those words. The second line is looking for any of those words. The third line is looking for any of those words. And these ands over on the left mean that each line is being combined. So we'll get less and less results as it looks more and more specifically at each of the concepts we've put in there. So if you're not familiar with that idea, you might want to have a look at our library guide on Boolean logic, but it's fairly straightforward as long as you keep the lines across as ors and going down as ands. And now you can see we're down to 8,411 results, which is kind of not too bad. But you might be thinking, well, I can't look through 8,000 results. I've got to get this in by tomorrow or whenever. But you'll see that what we've done is we tried to make the biggest pool of results that we can possibly get, because what we're going to do now is narrow it down even more specifically by the kinds of things we might want. And one of the things you can see up here is that we can limit it to peer-reviewed journal articles. And if we click that filter on, you'll see that it drops down from 8,411 results to just 4,000 results. So there's still quite a lot there. And we might also want to try changing the results to say just what's been published in the last 12 months or the last 5 years, depending on kind of what you subject you're doing will make a difference there. So that's narrowed it down to 3,000 results. And you can see that we can now really get into the different kinds of things that we need. And if we go back to the advanced search, we can actually be even a little bit more clever than that. If we scroll down, you can see that for one of the things you could do, for example, if you want to find out what print books and ebooks we've got, you can just search the library catalogue. And if we scroll down a little bit further, you can see that you can actually do a custom range if that's more helpful to you, or you want to perhaps see what was written, say, in the 1990s on a subject. And then you can also limit by a few other things here, such as language and other things as well, which we won't get into. Language is possibly the most helpful of those. But can you see how we've got different filters that we can put in, but we've also got different search options we can go into here. And again, there's different kind of possibilities there that you can turn on and off, which might help with what you're searching for. But if you're finding too many things, one of the key things that you might want to turn off are the expanders. So at the moment, we're searching through the full text of the articles that it's finding. You might find that you want to turn that off because you're simply finding too much in the way of semi-relevant material. So do remember that you can turn that expander off. And then you can also look at the publications options there if you want to as well, which will let you search for specific journals. We won't do that at the moment, but if you do need to look for a specific journal, then that will tell you whether we have it or not. Okay, so in the search that we've got, if we click back on search, a couple of things to note over here is that you've got, again, some featured results up at the top. And if we scroll down, you can see that we've got a whole variety of things here. They're going to be journal articles because that's what we selected. But one of the things you can do is you can have a look at the subjects that are offered here for each journal article. Technological innovations, in this case, Metropolis, Norway, electric bicycles, sustainability, that kind of thing. And sometimes if you click on the title, and you have a look down at the detailed record, you'll see other keywords as well. So do have a look. So there you've got the subject terms, but further down you've got some author supplied keywords. And these can be really useful for you to go back into your mind map or your list of keywords, however you like to work, to get little ideas about things that we hadn't thought about. I'm not seeing anything there that's particularly useful for the search that we're doing, but your searches might be different. So I hope that's given you a little clue into how you can use the advanced search to take the concepts that you've analysed about an assignment or a project and then really hone in on exactly what it is that you want. So all the best with your studies there, or your research or your dissertations, and please do get in touch with us if you've got any questions about it.